The
All right.
obvious joke. What's the obvious joke?
We don't talk about the obvious joke.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, Adam.
Hi, Alan. How's it going?
I'm doing all right. Oh man. Hey everybody. I'm Alan. This is Adam, and we are. Ah, man, I'm already doing a great job. I'm usually the tech guy behind the the beep and the boop, the things that touch the file, and
Behind the
yeah.
streams.
Yeah. So I'm covering for Alex today. Alex is off doing a wild adventure somewhere elsewhere, and so I'm sitting in for him. Uh, yeah. So welcome to the 800's.
Yes, welcome. If you joined us before the show, you heard some music. That music was Fearless First by Incompetech. Incompetech makes super dope music, so you should check them out at incompetech.filmmusic.io. Also, we have a YouTube channel. The link is below the video. You should check that out too. We post all of our book club videos as well as D&D podcast stuff and a whole bunch of other things, so you should check it out. And lastly, I wanted to talk to you guys about Patreon. That's not lastly. I'm going to talk to you about two more things. But first, Patreon. uh, Patreon is how we keep the lights on and continue streaming and stuff. So you should check out the link below the video and see what kind of tiers we have and what kind of cool perks we have. The awesome perk that we always mention is that a Patreon subscription gets you the ability to vote on what book we read next, which is our way of knowing what you guys want to read. So check out Patreon. And last but hopefully not least, we have a new Etsy. Is that the right word?
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
is.
We have a new Etsy page. Um, Gosh darn it, I don't have the link.
That's
I
all right.
thought I had it on
I
there,
I
but
got you covered. Yeah, so we
okay,
got an
good.
Etsy page. It's dedicated to all things nerdy. We sell 3D printed items on there. Very cool stuff out there. I make keychains, nerd keychains. Like I've got Zelda rupees out there. I gave Adam one of my Tetris pieces that I made. It's a whole set of like magnets that are Tetris pieces. They're pretty cool.
Super super dope.
Yeah, yeah, my kids love them. I think Adam's kids love them.
Yeah.
So, uh, but anyways, you can check out our Etsy page. Go to dmstable.com/Etsy to get to our store. Uh,
Awesome.
yeah. So let's talk about this book. We are we're discussing "Off to Be the Wizard" by Scott Meyer. Meyer? Yeah,
Meyer?
yeah, sure. Meyer. Yep. We're so good with names, and you'll find out throughout the show. Uh, but yeah, so we're talking about "Off to Be the Wizard" by Scott Meyer, and it's essentially a book about a computer enthusiast who finds a file that controls reality. And he gets into all sorts of interesting situations and hijinks with his uh, friends or acquaintances that are known to be wizards or time travelers. It's a comedic book, and I can't wait to discuss it.
Yeah, me too. If this is your first time joining us on this show, I'll give you a quick rundown of how things work here at the 800s. Essentially, there will be a topic or question that we're going to discuss. That topic or question will either come from Alan or myself, or we'll pull it from chat. So if you have a topic or question that you would like to discuss, throw it in chat at any time. We keep a pretty close watch on chat, and we'll grab it and say, hey, so-and-so wants to talk about this, so let's talk about that. We'll put it up on the screen, and Alan and I will talk back and forth about it for a minute before we check out chat and see what everybody else has to say about it. So, any topics or questions that you had about the book, feel free to throw them in there and we'll discuss away.
And with that being said, let's cover a very important base and my favorite base to cover. We do not intend this show to be a kids show. It If you choose to bring your kids, that's great. But we do occasionally swear. We do not watch our language necessarily, and we do a lot of times discuss adult themed items. Most of the books we read have some form of adult thing to it. Yeah, we read the entire gambit of fantasy. So be that as it may, bring your kids at your own risk. Also, we are trying to build a very supportive community, a community that's positive and doesn't squash your ideas or thoughts, whether they're dissenting on a book that you love or vice versa. Um, all opinions are welcome here, and so we ask that you be nice or fuck off. Favorite part. Favorite part.
You did good.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, let's get into this. Uh let's see. Who suggested this book, by the way? Do you remember? Was this you?
I don't know.
I know LPAC has suggested it to me personally a couple of times. So it certainly has come within the community. Thank you everybody who has suggested it to us over the years. Um, I think officially this is an Adam book though. So
It
thanks,
does
Adam.
it does look like that based on our notes, but
Yeah.
this is definitely one of my faves. It's a great comedic relief book and really takes you to a whole new place. So
Yeah. So with that, let's get into initial impressions or first impressions.
yeah, sure
Um,
thing.
so what I know this isn't your first rodeo with this book, so hit me with like what's your impression now coming back to this book after having already read it? Did it hold up to the hype that you like the pedestal you put it up to?
I gotta say, yeah. I mean, I've always been a fan of this book. Listening to it for the second time through still feels like the first time. The jokes are still funny. The I still get super excited about listening to Scott Meyer rattle off super corny humor. So, how
Yeah.
about
I
you?
I enjoyed this book a lot. It at least like at the start of it, I and my initial take was from the writing style, it felt very like a coherent version. That's mean. I'm gonna keep going though. Like a coherent version of Hitchhiker's Guide, and I think if you've read, I think it's the fourth book of Hitchhiker's Guide. You know what I mean? Like it starts getting weird, and it starts getting like really out there, and it's hard to follow sometimes and stuff like that. But this is a very like good book for like a conversational read. Um, a good example is like the main character Martin, right? The main character Martin, he has this idea of what's about to happen, or that he's doing something good, and somebody like Phil, like instantly after the narrator reads about how Martin feels like this is a great idea, Phil or somebody comes in and is like, Martin, or Marty, that's a terrible idea, you know?
Yeah.
So like it's that kind of conversational writing style that like subverts your expectations as you're reading. It kind of sets up that like that that structure of like what you're currently reading is almost like a good stream of consciousness, and it was enjoyable and like smooth like reading. Yeah, yeah, it was. I knew from the first few pages that this was my kind of book.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's definitely got that buddy vibe
yeah,
where, yeah.
yeah, yep, yep, yeah. I really enjoyed the concept, which was awesome that he got into it like right away, right? Like he set up the whole this is what the world currently looks like for Marty. And then he gets into like what Marty does kind of on his like free time, and then finding the file, and him messing around with the file, which was hilarious. Um, I think I think like that whole concept really rings true. I've brought this concept up at work. I work in IT, and I've had a couple of people just after explaining like the core concept of the book, they've went out and bought this book. So it's a very like what do you it's a very like interesting concept, and we've seen it in other stories too, right? Like there's like Click, there's the Matrix, things like that, where we're talking about technology kind of like controlling reality, and what we perceive as real isn't real.
Yeah.
um so yeah, it was good.
One of my favorite themes that actually gets introduced pretty early on is um, the nonchalant way that Philip and the other wizards that already exist in medieval times address essentially the butterfly effect
Yeah.
that they're not having on the world. So my my question is, what do you think about the nonchalant way that the wizards view their interaction with the world?
I love it. I think you're right. Like it's very comedic, um, because it's like, well, what if this alters the course of history? And they're like, eh, so far it hasn't. So which is like the most IT answer. Like that is like, and it's not even IT. That is like nerd culture answer. I remember being in high school and getting those kind of answers where it was just like, whatever. It so far it's no big deal, and that answer hasn't changed as I've grown up. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed like not just the nonchalance of like of their effect on like time, but just their nonchalance with how everything is, but also this like adherence to respect the locals, as they call them.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, they create this like wizard culture, which is really just nerd culture, and then they call it wizards, and then as long as they're like respecting the the locals and they're looking busy, they can live a lavish life of not busy. you know,
Yep.
like that scene where Philip is like telling Martin about like how he just has to make a show to pop into his shop every once in a while, and as long as he doesn't come out for a long time, people expect that he's very busy, and
Yeah.
or like he puts up like a sign that he's away or something like that, and people are thinks that he's like on a big quest, but he's really just messing around doing whatever stuff he wants to do. So
Building a car piece by piece. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. What? How about you?
For me, like, yeah, same thing where I just thought it was hilarious how they're like meh,
Yeah.
so far it's good. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Am I right?
Right? Yep.
uh, I especially love that, uh, like Philip's personal view of is everything predestined
Mm-hmm.
because it seems like nothing's changed,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, no, I have free will, but at the same time, I can do whatever I want. So,
Yeah, and Martin's response to like he always answers with this and yeah. Yeah.
if your response to somebody saying "but no" is "shut up," and you always say "shut up," isn't that a pre-programmed response?
Shut
But then he
up.
goes, "Shut up, shut up."
Yeah. I um I also enjoyed like how much and really this is a good idea that the writer clearly did was he stayed out of the why, at least in this book. I don't know if he gets into it in the other books because this is a fairly big series, even though the books are short. I mean, this is what at least 3 or 4 books long. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, he does a good job of like giving you enough information of the magic or the sci-fi or what have you of the world, but through characters not really caring, uh, he doesn't have to explain how the file works. He just has to explain how they have these extravagant powers. It doesn't matter how the file works, and none of the wizards care how the file works. They just care that their macros continue to work. They want they want that shell program to just keep going, and as long as that's good, they're happy. And so it's really funny to see like this this wizarding culture of it's good enough, stop messing with it, or where it's like, yeah, I really don't need to know the in-depths about reality because I'm having a lot of fun doing these other things that bend reality. So, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Let's see here. So, what did you think about the the training process, like the vetting process, and how did you feel like on its effectiveness?
Yeah, I think um,
I asked these really
that's a good
intricate
question.
questions, but now I have to type them out. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I'll talk for a while.
Yeah.
um, no, I like that it's pretty much it's not skill based really. It's can you get around inside the program? Can you understand enough to enjoy the community? And are you not a dick? I mean,
I
that's
was gonna say that too. Yeah.
that's in my mind that's pretty good criteria for somebody you want hanging around for the rest of eternity. I think it definitely works well because there's just not a ton of them.
Hmm.
I think the bigger the community gets, the more chance that somebody starts vetting someone and their own personal viewpoints are somewhat iffy, but they're still okay, so they were allowed to stay. But you know, their somewhat iffy viewpoints transition into them training somebody who has somewhat less iffy, somewhat more not okay viewpoints.
Hmm.
The bigger they get, the more likelihood that you're gonna grow to a size where not everybody's cool. But I think because they're tiny, there's just a handful of them that it works for them.
Yeah, I think uh sorry, one second. Oh, there it goes. The file did update. um yeah, I liked the training, like the concept. The idea of the training was a good idea. I think what the what Scott did with the book really poked holes in the effectiveness of their training. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that you want to find some cool guys to hang out with, and you don't want to be stuck with a dick for your entire existence, which is all of existence. And it also stands to reason, like, you're literally giving someone cheat codes to reality. And so, like, how, you know, how good are are these people? And I think that's where the effectiveness like fails, is that they do a horrible job like vetting people. And I think that I don't know. I think that it will need to be addressed in future books, um, because you know they've had two instances in this community, and there's all of like Atlantis, right? Because all the women go to Atlantis. Like, what happens there? Do the women never have these problems? Is it only men that tend to have these problems? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm not 100% like I think it needs to be addressed. It was a great way to create the problem for this book, but maybe that's one of the long-term challenges that the author decides to address. I'm not sure.
I will say one thing I am surprised about is um, the lack of time travel when they decide to boot somebody. Like in my mind, if somebody ends up being a dick, you should just time travel back to when they got there and be like, "Nope,
Yeah,
you're out."
you gotta go. You gotta go. Yeah, that's a great point, and I think that what the author has going for him is these people are really, even though like one of their big rules is like you need to think through your actions, right? Philip really instilled this, or tried to instill it into Martin, but uh, you know, for a group of guys who are supposed to be thinking through their actions, they're really oblivious.
Yeah.
And I think that works in the writer's favor, because you can bring up these like plot holes, and then like the writer, if he ever feels like addressing this plot hole, he can just be like, through dialogue, Philip would be like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I don't have. I could have just booted you right away." you know, Something like that. Um, so yeah, I mean there is this interesting, like, they showed this continuum of like when Martin goes back in time and then plays poker against himself and stuff like that. Like, so it definitely feels like the world is set up to be a continuum, even though Philip doesn't want it to be.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they can't. But yeah, I agree. I agree. If you've got time travel, why not use it more effectively? So yeah. I've got another question for you though. So
Okay.
what did you if this is a good one. This is a good one. I'm switching my question on the fly. If you had file access, what is the first thing you would do?
Hmm. First thing, assuming of course that I've already tested it by doing some silly thing like adding 2 inches
Yeah,
to my height.
yeah. I'm thinking, like, what is your first course of action? Like, as soon as you've got your bearings. Like, Martin created a phone app. Well, he set his phone to always be at 75% battery, and then he created a phone app. But yeah, what would you do?
I hate to be boring, but I would probably just give myself a ton of money right away. But after that,
After the feds catch up to you?
yeah, after I deposit like $50,000 or something, I'd probably I'd probably I'd probably start doing things like I really like the the teleporting aspect of it where Martin just had that map
Mm-hmm.
and he could like click on it and go there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that would be super useful and just super cool to be like, I feel like going to the beach today.
Mm-hmm.
Boop, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gets rid of all the problems of travel.
I think like all wizards, right? Like the money thing, right? Every time. And I think I would not be the exception on that one. I would try though to set up some sort of like, because this money just appears out of nowhere. Set up some sort of like corporation to funnel the money into and pay out of from. I've thought about it like I've thought about fantasy money laundering way too much, but over the course of this book, I've been thinking about like, yeah, so how would you hide something like that? You would have to essentially establish like a cash business, but then somehow like get that cash into the system, but you can't generate cash. You're generating, you know, numbers in theory if we're talking about just like Martin's situation, right? So, yeah. I mean, you could generate cold hard cash, but that would be difficult because our money currently is made of multiple materials where and it sounds like that is a common issue is to generate multi-material items. So you would have to create gold gold bullions.
Yeah.
There you go. You just generate gold bullions and sell them.
Look what I found.
What? What? Yeah, I was digging in my backyard and I found these things. So,
Guys, I think my great great grandpa might have been a pirate. Look what I found in the attic.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's what I would do. I would probably stupidly focus on money first, even though you could literally do anything. Yeah.
I think the next big one would be trying to figure out the health stuff, like seeing if I can make myself immune to diseases and things.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that would be a good one. The aging process thing, that was interesting. It was funny to me that Philip is the one who like had to do it first, so he ended up being in his like late 30s. So, yeah. I love that whole concept of like they developed computer technology around this file even in a time when computers didn't exist and they were able to like build this system around it, right? And it's very that concept is very much this book of like don't look at it too hard because there's
Yeah.
a lot of things wrong with that. But yeah. Uh and I enjoyed like the different the different time perspectives. Like they don't talk about the like future technology and stuff like that. Um, that was pretty funny. So, what was I'm gonna ask another question. I'm just
That's all right.
I'm just taking over.
Keep them coming.
Yeah. What was a usage that caught you off guard? Like a usage of the file that caught you off guard?
Hmm.
And it could be anything. And when I say usage of the file, it could be any of the magic like done.
Good question.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That was totally not a filler statement while I'm thinking. um, I gotta say the time travel thing, just because, like, if you
Really?
think about it,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, one for starters, they travel back to a time before computers, based off of a file in a computer database.
And a book on Amazon.
Yeah. um, but like, how does that, like, how? Why would that even be an entry? Like, I understand, like, having something that says this clock says it's this time. But like, why would there be a running clock that they can edit?
Per person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it would make sense from like to some degree. It would make sense why you would have like that clock on a person record. Because if you are expecting someone to move in the past, you would need to hold that record for all time so that you could give them like their temporal displacement, right? So you would say from the start of time, how far away from the start of time are you, and then you would adjust that. That isn't quite how they explain the file, though. Yes, yeah. I think mine was Philip's toilet. I figured it was something goofy, uh, but I didn't see it coming until they brought up the statue, and I was like, oh, that's it. That's where the toilet goes. And then he was talking about how it was like all tarnished and stuff, and I was like, I knew it. I knew it. Oh man, yeah. And then
That's so gross.
it was so gross. And then the local guy was like, yes, and the wildest thing happened the other day. Uh, uh, like it does. It came out of nowhere and it smelled like soup or stew. It
A
smelled
bowl
like
of stew appeared. It's so weird.
yeah.
You gotta wonder if in that moment when Martin poured the stew down the toilet, if Philip was like, "Oh man, what are the locals gonna think of that one?"
I liked how Philip kept trying to like feed him stew, and when he could make anything, I enjoyed the light-hearted hazing that Philip did. It was from from the outside perspective, it was a good way for him to like prod at Martin to see like how he's going to react to things and see
Yeah,
if like his reactions are over the top or if this guy's going to be a cool guy that you can chill with.
yeah. I especially like that. He continued feeding Martin stew after they had the pizza party when they met all the other England wizards, like the other three.
Yeah.
Like, how did Martin not go, wait, they went and got pizza, no problem. Why can't we just go and get whatever we want, no problem?
He's a slow learner. Yeah.
What do we got to eat this ancient stew?
And then Tyler and his bathroom habits.
Oh my.
How he just goes right after he's went, so in theory it's been in complete use for like a full year, like
Yeah.
nonstop. Oh man, that's good
They
stuff.
this isn't too spoilery, but they do go into that in the future.
Yeah, yep. I have started the next book. I have started the next book, and yeah, yeah, I like the style enough. Um, all right. I asked a bunch of questions in a row. Your turn.
Okay.
Your turn.
Okay.
Hit
Uh,
me.
if you were a newly arrived wizard, what would your macro be?
Ooh, ooh. I think I would do something flashy, like legitimately flashy, like flash paper. It would be
Yeah.
very much like that, but like full body flash paper, and then I would do like a Wizard of Oz like vocal announcement where it's just like this big booming like voice with my my name or my wizard name. I don't know if I would take a wizard name, but yeah, my name has arrived or something like that, you know? Yeah.
Interesting choice of a name, my name. That's right
Yeah,
along the lines of
it's
enter
the
name here.
default on the macro.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that's what I would do though. Something that isn't like super duper drawn out, just something like quick that doesn't quite get old fast. I don't want people to like roll their eyes like after the third usage. Yeah. How about you?
I would fake set myself on fire and play it off as like I'm an incompetent wizard. You better run because I have no idea what I'm doing. Ah!
Uh-huh. Oh man. What would your wizard name be? Like
Hmm.
Martin was like the magnificent
Martin the
Martin or
Magnificent.
something like that. Yeah, Martin the Magnificent. Would you go with the what is that where it's multiple the letters start with the same thing like Peter Parker?
Alliteration.
Yeah, an alliteration.
I don't think so. I'd probably just go by my regular name.
You're just Adam.
Yeah, just Adam. I'm gonna be living there for a long time. It's a lot to remember.
I think I think I would do something similar. I think I would be I think I'd be stupid like Martin and come up with a wizard name and then regret it soon after. Um, I I don't feel I'm too dissimilar from Martin, so I think like the things he did near the start, I was like, these are reasonable. These are reasonable things to do, you know,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
like him forgetting his shoes or whatever when he teleports for the first time uh, uh, like he teleports out of the house or whatever. Classic things like that, like getting so excited doing something with the file and then just completely forgetting the obvious things. So
On that note, though, how gaslighty is Martin? Like, no matter what he screws up, he's always like, "How do you know it's a screw up? Maybe I intended to do this."
yeah, that's like that is a very like uh that's a very good personality for him to have because it meshes well into the like quirky wizard community but also distinguishes him, you know,
Yeah.
like you've got the 80s wizards, you got the all the different types of wizards, from their different types of culture. So it was cool to see what a 2003 or whatever wizard was it 2003? Yeah, something like that.
For Martin,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was
not sure.
yeah, I think it was
I
2003
don't
cuz cuz he was doing some dated technology in the book and I was like,
know.
"Oh, when was this written?" Yeah, I think he came from 2003 or 2004.
I know somebody came from 2012,
I think that was Tyler. And he
and
was
I
like,
think
it's basically like 2003, just different.
I think the latest we saw was 2020 or 2021.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Ooh,
well, I think
that's funny.
one of the ladies was from 2020 or something. It might have
One of
been
the
the lady
ladies.
who made I'm blanking the city, the lady city.
I don't think they covered that in this book.
They might not have. It might be in the next one, but
That's all right. Whatever. But yeah. Um, hit me with another one. Go for it.
yeah. Shoot, I did have another one. What was it?
I don't know.
Okay, let's get serious.
Yeah, I was about to get
'Cause
serious on you too, so let's do this.
okay, Jimmy just murdered a town, and you caught him, and he's trussed up. What would you have done with him?
Are we talking? Wow. Yeah. Uh, I had a really hard time with that. Like, I had a hard time with how to handle the Jimmy situation because of how much power these guys have. You're unkillable ish. You know, um, you're immortal. Like, how do you punish someone like that? And I mean, they did a good job, obviously. Like I thought it was humane enough punishment. Um, because this group is really about like, don't kill people, and if you kill people, like, I mean, we're not gonna kill you back, but like, you're gone. And that's probably worse than death, right? Having all that power and then having it stripped away. But um yeah, I don't know how I would react or handle it. I mean, I would freak out for sure, but um yeah. Yeah, how about you?
I got two different answers for this.
Okay.
So in situations like um, Todd, who
Yeah.
was the first wizard who showed up and they kicked out right away,
Mhm.
based on his macro, or you know, from
His
the introduction.
salutation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, I think in those situations they do the right thing, where they say, "You're not welcome to join us. We don't think you're of the right character.
Uh-huh.
See ya. You're going back to your time, and you're gonna have to live with the consequences of
Hog-tied and
whatever you."
naked.
Yeah. Whatever sitch you're in your time is your own fault. So bye. But for Jimmy situations, I think it's kind of uh, irresponsible of them to just ship Jimmy off back to his time,
Yeah.
because you know collectively as a group they're giving out these powers. Like, not everybody obviously is going to be able to create the same type of powers based on user skill, but because they have their shell program, everybody gets the same godlike powers.
Mhm.
I think part of giving that out is saying we accept the responsibility of the
Everyone.
person who
Yeah.
gets these powers.
Yeah.
So for me, I think what what I probably would have done in that situation would be to suggest a kind of jail situation for Jimmy in their time. It probably wouldn't look like a jail because they have magic and can do whatever they want, but
Mhm.
they could strip Jimmy of his powers and then restrict his radius of movement to within a mile of his house or something.
Yeah.
put specific actions on a like a watchdog program where if he does something, it's gonna poof him back to his house and it's gonna alert all the other wizards that he did something.
That's very responsible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I I I think I'd fit in really good with these wizards because I didn't think about that stuff. You know, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think that makes sense though for like I mean these guys are really immature, right? Like and they're very compulsive. And so yeah, I think for sure there was a more responsible way to handle Jimmy. I don't I mean, I agree what you said is a good idea. I just don't know if it'd be effective for Jimmy. Because Jimmy is a manipulator, right? He's a
Yeah.
he's a silver tongue guy, and yeah, yeah. There is something to be said though about the like sending back hogtied and naked, and like letting you sleep in the bed that you made. Um,
Yeah.
I did enjoy that, but yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm not gonna say they didn't. Uh, I'm not gonna say they did it right. It was irresponsible.
I do think it what they do is definitely in character. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody there is there because they're lottery winners. They're not trying to take responsibility for other people's mistakes.
Right. Yeah. How would how did you feel about like this book from like a writing standpoint? Like where were you at as far as like not just the writing style, but like we've read a lot of books at this point in this genre. What were your thoughts on like how the characters developed and stuff like that?
I think you definitely see a lot of development on Martin's behalf. He learns to how to word this. He learns to embrace his arrogance in a less damning way.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then, um, everybody else I feel is pretty trapped in their paths because they're not the spotlight characters, but uh, no, because they're immortal time traveling wizards who just want to have fun. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, I think you definitely see change in Martin. You see, I think a little bit in Philip in terms of um, taking responsibility instead of just sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah. I I almost think that Philip never really changed but was more revealed. You know what I mean? Like Philip is who he is, but like we just don't know who he is until the end of the book, and he just slowly is revealed instead of like grew. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because he's kind of established this whole situation, right? He was the first guy in the area and kind of set everything up, and yeah. But yeah, yeah, I agree. I think the book was good enough, right? This isn't a Pulitzer Prize, uh, Pulitzer Prize. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of felt like I said Pulitzer Prize. Anyways, yeah. This isn't necessarily an award-winning book for like the quality of writing or like the storytelling. This is like a kickback, easy reader kind of book. This is a book that's it's like cartoons, right? Like and we're talking like American cartoons, not anime, right? Like we're talking the story is good enough, and you're here for the characters, and you're here for the character interactions, and there's not a lot of thought going into this book. There's not a ton of like big predictions that you need to make, or who done it. It is an easy reader that will unfold in front of you. And I could see like people not enjoying the book because of that, because you there's no like active involvement in like thinking through what's going on or anything like that. It's kind of fed to you. Um, but yeah, I still liked it. I I I think the writing was good enough, and I think the dialogue was where this book shined. The dialogue and how the narrator was written, like I think that's where this book really hones in on. It's not on its technicalities. It's on its delivery.
You could rename it "How to Make Friends with Nerds."
Yeah. Yeah. what did um what did you think about the clergy interaction? Do you remember
Good.
this?
Yeah, good question. I think um, for me, I mean, it just goes back to you respect people based on their character, not on their beliefs. Like if it's a good person who's out there to do goodwill, then you don't go out there and be like, "But you believe things differently than me, so,"
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. I think he got that across in a good way too, where Philip was like, "What do I care? He's a good guy, and who am I to say that the file wasn't written by God, right? Who created the file, and uh, that kind of like reasoning of like we're really just two sides of the same coin, where we just have different questions on what's going on, right? So like the wizards know how things are doing things, and they don't really know why, and the clergy don't really care about the why because there's no one could understand the why, and so they've got a whole different puzzle to solve on their side, and so they're just kind of in the same boat as the wizards. I thought that was a cool way for him to like keep the locals in the fold, right? Without the locals having this whole like this moral issue through religion against the wizards, and it really created this like it allowed the nerds to smooth it out with the locals. So yeah.
Although on that note, it does kind of speak volumes that as soon as the locals think the wizards are vulnerable, they immediately start
Yeah.
jumping them.
At least for the what were those dudes called? They were like
Well, the gang.
yeah, yeah. They were like the bastards or something like that. It was some
Yeah.
some like stupid name. I enjoyed that. I enjoy how this guy writes dumb people. I it's very much how nerds think of themselves. Like it is a constant like battle in our friends groups or whatever, where someone's like this idiot, it's like I think that person's just fine, they're clearly not stupid, but like the author does a really good job of like conveying that kind of culture for someone who just doesn't quite know things from your perspective.
Yeah. Kind of on that note, I'm not calling Martin an idiot, but what do you think about Martin in terms of a protagonist?
It's a good question. I don't think he's a normal protagonist. I don't think he's a hero. You know what I mean? Like when we're talking about our fantasy books, we're usually talking about like heroes or anti-heroes. You know, we're not we're talking about the main characters. And Martin to me felt like the main character of his perspective. So like, you know, cuz we're reading the book from his perspective to a degree, but he was nowhere near the main character for this like this conflict. Like he showed up right at the tail end of the conflict. He really didn't do much during the conflict. What he did bring was he brought a fresh idea to how to solve something, right? Um, so his usage of the shell, um, or like the fact that he kept a phone on him that directly accessed the file, and so he was new enough that he hadn't completely abandoned his phone as access to the file. So
Yeah.
yeah, I I think I think if you were looking for Martin to be like this heroic figure, it'd be easy to like be let down because he wasn't. He was
Yeah.
just a guy.
I think Scott Meyer does a really good job of um, portraying the everyday hero.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like he wasn't heroic in a normal fantasy sense. He was just a dude doing stuff in these events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's
He's
very
just
it's very like non-articulate.
he was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
he
I mean,
didn't murder people, and he
Philip
was
rode him like
there.
a
And
Philip rode him like a skateboard, or a hoverboard. I did like the Doom references.
Yeah,
I I enjoyed the like little nerd culture things that they drop in here and there, with the wizards um, using the shell in nerdy ways. I I think it was kind of fun to see like how the nerds accidentally, it could actually be like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but like these nerds they really took on this classic wizarding stance of like we stay out of the locals business as much as possible, and we're manipulating things at like a higher level, and sometimes we use people to get as means to an end. So sometimes we use people as means to an end. And so they really like secured that classic like wizarding culture, just through their actions. And it wasn't necessarily it didn't feel like it was a purposeful thing. It was just kind of, I don't know. It showed how a wizarding culture could act in a realistic manner, I guess realistic. But
it's because they are the wizards of our past.
right.
They're the ones who defined it.
There you go. And nothing they did really mattered. it was it wasn't even a drop. Yeah.
So, on that note, these are great transitions, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, on that note,
On that note,
uh-huh.
uh,
Segue.
segue. uh, so they talk about early on about how nothing they do seems to affect the future.
Mhm.
but we know that how what they do drastically changes the past.
Yeah.
So, what do you think happens,
Oh,
or
that's a good question. I see what you're
say,
saying. Like
do
what?
you, I
Yeah.
guess does something happen so that fixes it, and what is that? Or are you more on the Philip theory of they're on an alternate stream, they're not actually in the past?
Yeah. I am of a hybrid theory. So um I like to think of this as like video games. So um I like to think that they are shunted to a different server, and that server is kind of like where their state of the routine like lives and continues to spin off into infinity. Um but I also think that sometime in the future, probably caused by like somebody outside of their current like time period. So I don't know, maybe like the federal agents come into play more, or like Jimmy, or somebody out there, even Todd, um, like somebody out there causes the servers to like reset or like condense. And so like it doesn't matter what they did in the server, because because eventually in the future they're all shunted back to like their main server or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um which is kind of grim, because like, the locals and all sorts of stuff. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how it kind of works for me. It's not exceptionally clear, but I also haven't put like a ton of thought into it yet. How about you?
um, I think at some point they realize something is different, and they go, "Oh shit, what we do does change the future."
That's got to be like a book 3 or book 4 concept. It's got to be. That it feels like it, right? Like that is a long con that a author can pull, right? You set up these. Oh my gosh, Adam, you're onto something. Because this is Scott's way of doing things. He always sets up expectations, gives you a norm, and then subverts them. Right? He's like, here is the world, and then something outside of that thought is like, nope, you're wrong. And so yes, I think you're right. Continue. Sorry.
Like, so, uh, just an FYI, there are 6 books in the series,
Okay.
and that's it. The last one was I forget what year it was.
Is
It
he
was the
done?
Vex
Done?
generation. I think he is, because the Vex generation has been out for a while.
Okay.
Ugh, I can't find the info on it.
That's fine.
Anyway, it was at least in 2019, because that's when this review was posted. So,
Okay.
they
He could be writing
they
another one.
yeah.
Anyways.
So I don't want to go too much into it because he does talk about it a little bit about there is a book about affecting the future,
Okay.
but
So don't get into that.
yeah
Don't.
my perspective just from book one is at some point somebody's got to go, wait, that wasn't like that before.
Yeah.
Fuck, we got to go back and fix all the shit we've messed up.
Yeah. Do you think it'd be small? Do you think it'd be like the guy who
Yeah,
ran the pizza joint's name is Tim instead of Tom, and they're
yeah.
like, "Oh no," or it's not Tim who's running the pizza joint anymore. Um, gotcha.
I think it would be something like somebody uncovers uh, a I don't know, a car that's 700 years old somehow.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Oh, that'd be so funny. Just like this whole like, 'cause it's like a party in the past right now. And they're being so irresponsible. Yeah. Yep. So, it is 9:30. Let's
Yeah,
uh let's get into our final thoughts here.
yeah,
Hit me with your final thoughts.
sure thing. So I love this book. It's hilarious. uh, I do think there is a certain art to being able to write a book that has plot holes and inconsistencies and have it be okay.
Mhm.
If this was a serious book that had serious, thought provoking plot and stuff, I don't think I would necessarily have liked it as much
Mhm.
because it's got a lot of, this might not really add up kind of things. But because it's pitched as a comedic relief kind
Mhm.
of book, I absolutely love it.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
so I think Scott Meyer has that art form down where you say, listen, don't think about it, just enjoy it.
Mhm.
Uh, and I thoroughly enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
I think like I was saying earlier that like the the s- like the story development in here ain't that great, but it doesn't matter because the execution is like phenomenal. He lets you know right away what kind of book this is gonna be, and it really doesn't change much as far as like your expectations for this book. He sets his expectation, or he sets the reader's expectations very accurately at the start, or at least it felt like that for me. And then he fulfilled those expectations wonderfully. Um, and I don't regret reading this book at all. I really do enjoy it. I was actually going to start the Stormlight archives on my off weeks, right? Cuz so like how I do the 800's is I read the 800's book the first week and then I read my own book the following
Yeah.
week. And I was going to start the Stormlight archives as my like off book uh, again. And then this book came along, and now that's no longer what I'll be doing. I'll be going through the other five books, and I'll be enjoying all the way to the end. Yeah, I would highly recommend this book. In fact, I have recommended this book to multiple people. Um, it it just it fits well in the culture that I live in. I could see how people don't like this book. You gotta know the culture, and you gotta enjoy the culture in order to really, I think, get into this book. And fortunately for Scott, um, as time has went on, nerd culture has exploded, and so like people are very well versed in nerd culture. Now they just, if they can enjoy it, they'll enjoy the book.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yep.
It's would recommend for me too.
Yeah.
If you couldn't figure that out by the fact that I recommended
Yeah, for the
it.
show, yeah. Oh man. Yeah, this is one of those books that I'm I'm really glad we have this show for. Um, I say that with like all the books, right? But like every time we read one of these books that just kind of like surprises me with how much I'm missing, by not being like a insatiable reader, right? I'm before this show I wasn't an avid reader. I just kind of might have picked up a book here and there. Um but after having participated in the show for so long, um I'm really surprised at all the books I've missed out on, and I'm very glad that we've covered books like this. So, yeah. Thanks for the recommendation.
Hey, no problem.
All right, let's get into the wrap.
Yeah.
Do 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 do.
Chicken wrap or steak wrap?
Ooh, ¿por qué no las dos? Um,
I know what one of those words is.
let's see here. What does Alex usually do? I'm missing the I'm missing the last names, Adam. All right, just take it away. I'll jump in here and there.
Okay.
Or am I taking it away?
No, I'll take
All
it
right.
away. Next up, our book is Study in Scarlet for May 21st. We already knew about that one. Book vote that ended tonight, determined for June 18th. We're going to read Elantris by Brandon Sanderson.
Yep. With scheduling conflicts and such, we're going to have about a 1 month break. So Elantris is a classic Brandon Sanderson book that's going to be really, really big. So
Yeah.
enjoy your month of reading Sanderson.
One of Brandon Sanderson's first novels, Elantris, is uh, the foundation of Brando Sando's world building.
Oh, is it? Does he?
uh,
Is this in the Cosmere?
I think so, yeah.
I wonder if it's the first book in the Cosmere. That that'd be interesting. I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'm excited to finally read Study in Scarlet too. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. That's going to be a first time read for me for Study in Scarlet.
Same.
But I won't be here to discuss it.
Yeah.
It'll be Alan and Alex for May 21st.
Are you gonna be able to join via chat or
Yeah, I might.
maybe?
I might try and pop in on chat as
Okay.
much as I can, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how the night goes.
All right. All right. Um. Yeah. So I can run through the next set here. I can. I know some things about the DM's table.
All right,
So,
take it away.
if you didn't know, this show is produced by the DM's Table. If you want to find out more about us and our nerdy collection of people, go check out dmstable.com. It's there where you will find out more information about the podcast that 2/3 of the 800's is on, and you'll find out there's a blog over there. It's all about nerd culture in the DM's table, and you can find out more over on our website. And if you are watching the show live and you want to catch the rest of it, like you might need to leave or whatever, go check out our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, like Adam said earlier, is where we post all of the VODs for the 800s after the fact, and it also has our podcast and a couple of like conversations around D&D. It's a great YouTube channel, and if you love the show and you love what we're doing, please, if you're able to, go check out our Patreon. Our Patreon is basically the way we keep our website running and our podcast published. Um, It really is the lifeblood for our little company here, and um, yeah, we take every dollar and put it directly back into the company to make sure that you guys get the content that you enjoy. So if you're enjoying the 800s, please feel free to go check that out. Um, Thank you so much to our current patrons. You guys are amazing. Also, we've got a Facebook and a Twitter. Um, our Facebook is at the DM's Table. Our Twitter is at DM's Table. And if you want to join our more like tighter knit group, we've got a Discord server. You can hit us up on our socials for a direct link there. It is a private Discord server, so you don't got a bunch of randos rolling through and being jerks. It's a pretty fun community where we talk about all sorts of different things. We talk about books that we're reading outside of the 800s. We're talking about books we've read in the past for the 800s. We're talking about D&D and 3D printing and basically anything that's interesting to anyone. um, so yeah, I don't know if we've got themes coming up on this next vote. So TBD on that. You'll probably hear more about that from Alex when he joins back in, as Alex is our theme coordinator. Um, yeah, yep. Uh, Here we go. Another transition.
uh, Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope you guys joined us tonight.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't see any activity in chat, but you know what? That's okay. I enjoy talking about these books with you, and and hopefully someone joins in chat through YouTube or what have you. So thank you everybody who sees this in the future. From my perspective, you guys are awesome.
Yes, especially thank you for waiting to the very end of the YouTube video to watch us say thank you for
Yes,
watching
yes.
this in the future.
All right. Well, we will see you next book.
Yes, see you guys later.
See ya.